Okay, thank you for taking the time to check out this video today. What we're going to go over is Google G Suite. With G Suite, as our website states, you can communicate with your clients and staff regardless of where you are or what device you're using. You won't need to install any software or install/maintain any servers. So without further ado, some of the first things that we're going to check out is how to get logged in to the system, whether that is on your smartphone or on your computer. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is the smartphone. So I have my screen pulled up here, and if I unlock it, you'll see the App Store, which is right here. Click that. The first option that will come up is a search bar. So once you have the search bar open, type in Gmail. So I'll type that in right now. And the app that you'll want to download is the Gmail app. So it'll be this first icon that comes up, Gmail, email by Google. I already have this app installed on my phone, so it says open. If you don't currently have the Gmail app installed on your phone, it will say get. If you don't know your Apple ID, you'll probably have to go through a process of resetting that password. Otherwise, it's just like downloading any other app. If you have an Android device, you should already have Gmail installed by default. So I'll show you how to add an account to an Android device, and also how to add an account to an existing app on an iPhone. So I'll go ahead and open the app. And as you can see, this is the app. Pretty straightforward. It shows my unread emails. So this is the demo account. If I wanted to add an additional account, all I would have to click is these three lines here. Once that's clicked, you have these options here for the inbox. So at the top here, you have Feathershark demo, and then also the email address that's already signed in. If you click this, you can hit manage accounts. I also have my personal email account, Gmail account set up here. To turn that on, I can just toggle that green bar over. Same for my personal Doug at Feathershark account. I can toggle that over as well. So I'm going to turn those off and just leave the demo at Feathershark account on, and then I'm going to hit add account. So this is also what you'll see the first time that you sign into your Google account via the application. So right here you can put in the email address of your choice. I'll keep the Doug at Feathershark account. Hit done, hit next, and then you'll enter your password. During the setup process, we will provide you with a temporary password. Typically what that temporary password is welcome1 with an exclamation point. So once you put in that password and hit next, it'll guide you through a process of creating your own password. You will not be able to keep welcome1 exclamation point as your password, but for the setup process, that should be what it is. If it's different, we change that password occasionally just to make sure that we don't use the same thing frequently, but again, it's just for the temporary setup of the account. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this sign in and go back to my online account. I'm going to kick back over to the computer now and show you what the sign-in process looks like on that side. So if I come here, I have just a standard Google Chrome web browser, and here I am already signed in to my demo at Feathershark account. So if you already have a Gmail account, just open up Gmail, and then you can click add account. And once you hit add account, you can sign in or out of any other accounts that are already set up in your browser, or you can use another account. Type in your name, or whatever your email address is. So we'll call it bob@company.com. Hit next, and then you'll be able to enter your password here, and then you'll be signed in. So it's just that quick and easy, and this is the same process that you can do from any computer. So no need to use VPN or anything like that for your email. All you need is to open up the Google Chrome browser, sign in with your company email address and password, and you're good to go. So again, if you're signing in for the first time, all that you would need to do is go to mail.google.com. It'll bring you to the sign-in screen. Same screen that you saw previously here whenever we were adding the account. Put in your email and password and sign in. So this is the inbox once you get signed in. Pretty straightforward in terms of a standard email account. So you have a compose box here. So if you click compose, it will open up a window where you can send a new email to somebody. You also have the inbox, so that is highlighted in red whenever you have some emails, and the number of unread emails is in these parentheses. So I show here at the top unread, and this email from Mitchell Beasley, and this other email from Matt Reinke. The starred inbox is anything that you've marked as important. So at one point, it looks like Jonathan Sipe sent me an email. This was way back on January 21st of 2016. Pro tip, quick word lookup. He's got some information about how to do a quick word lookup in Google. So that was deemed important. So now I can just click this starred email and then come back and look at any of the starred emails in this inbox. The sent mail, pretty straightforward, is any email that you've ever sent. Drafts are emails that you've started and didn't finish. And then these here are your folders and labels, which we'll get into more here in a moment. And then if you click more, then you can see some of the additional information that's within this system. So the important feature, these little yellow tags, Google basically monitors the people that you send and receive emails from the most, and those emails get deemed as important. And then you can uncheck these if they actually aren't important. But the benefit of that is say you've been out of town for a while and you come back and you have 150 emails in your inbox, you can click the important tab and it will basically just bring forward the emails that have been sent to and from actual people, typically promotional emails or emails from vendors that you work with that are newsletter type emails don't get marked with important. So basically it's a way that you can get back, go through your priority items in your inbox, and then address the stuff that may not be as important later. So it's just a way to access the email where it's not as cluttered. Chats is related to Google Hangouts, which we'll show a little bit of here in a minute. And then All Mail is your archive. Basically every bit of email that you've ever sent or received that hasn't been deleted will be in your All Mail folder. Spam is your spam, of course, and trash is trash. Once you delete an item, it'll stay in your inbox for 30 days before it's purged from the system. So I'm going to go ahead and compose an email, and I'm going to send it to matt@feathershark.com. So since I've emailed Matt before, it automatically populates with his full email address, and I'll also CC my personal account, doug@feathershark.com. And then also I think it's important that I add another person to this email as a BCC, so they'll get blind carbon copied on this, and I'll add JStype to this email. For the subject, just any subject you think you want to use, I'll just use test for this, and then hello. Here is the information you requested. Get my grammar right. And at this point, I can do a few things. I can just send this email as is. If I want to change some of the formatting, I can click this A and change the font size, bold, italics, underline, text color, any other formatting rule that you want to do. One of the things that happens frequently is if you copy and paste text from a website, it brings that formatting with it, and you may not want that formatting to be actually in your message. Let's see if it does it here. Yeah, so see how this formatting doesn't match the rest of the email. A quick way to fix that is you can just highlight all the information and hit this remove formatting, and it'll make it match the rest of your message. So something that's quick and easy, and a way that you can structure your email in the way that it looks how you want it to look. There's a couple attachments that I'd like to add to this email. So the first thing I'm going to add is this spreadsheet. So this is just a CSV file, pretty standard, basically an Excel spreadsheet. It's got some generic information here. So I'll just drag and drop this to the email, and it is attached. I also have a couple of JPEGs here. One is for a wireless headset. The other is for a wired headset. So there's two ways that I can attach a photo. The first one that I'll show you is just by clicking the attach icon here. We'll go to desktop and we'll choose the wireless headset. And we'll attach that to this email. Okay, pretty straightforward in terms of how you would attach anything to any email. The other cool thing about Google is if you drag an image into the body of an email, it'll actually place the image where your cursor is in your screen, and it'll stay within the body of the email. So that way, if you wanted to send an email and add some captions to the photos, you can keep it right within the email. So I'll drag this one here. So it kept it right within the email, and I can say wired option, and then I'll add the wireless. This one's a little bit bigger than the other one. It's really easy to just click and drag to resize it to the size that you want. And I'll say wireless option. And then I can hit send once I'm happy with that message. So the message has been sent. Those guys will get the message and I can move on. If I click my sent folder, I'll go take a look at the email that I just sent, and you can see that, again, the pictures that I sent stayed within the body of the email, and then I also have these two attachments that are within the email as well. So I could download these attachments if I wanted to, but if you just click anywhere on the actual attachment, it'll pull up a preview window, and you can see basically what the attachment is without downloading it. And then you have this handy arrow to the right. You can click that, and you can preview the other attachment as well. Or if I wanted to, I could download these as well, and it'll just save those to my downloads folder. I'm going to come back to my inbox and go to a couple of these emails that I've received. Looks like both of these were received this morning, one at 11:29 a.m., one at 11:34 a.m., and this little paperclip here indicates that this email has an attachment within it. So that's convenient as you're looking at your inbox and you're seeing the paper clips. You know that those specific emails have attachments within it. So if you're looking for an email from somebody that had an attachment, there's the attachments. So I'll click this first one from Mitchell. It says, Doug, here are the training materials you requested. That's got two attachments. Looks like one of these is the download instructions for the application, which is basically the same process that I went through at the beginning of this video demonstration. The one thing that is included here that I didn't cover on that first part of the video is the Google Calendar. So the same process that we did for downloading the Gmail app, you can also do with the Google Calendar. Download the Google Calendar, signed in with your standard email credentials, and you are good to go. Then you can go there and view all of your calendar invites that are within your email. Also have the Google Sign instructions for how to get in on the web browser that I showed you. So these look important, so I'll go ahead and download these so that way I can put them into a specific folder on my computer later, or do whatever I need to do with them. I'll also reply to Mitchell and say thank you, and then I'll go ahead and add an emoji as well. And there's a lot of different options for these. They can be kind of fun. So take some time, check those out, and I'll hit send. So now he's got my response, and I'll move on to my next email. I can either go back to go to my inbox, or at the top of the screen here where it says 1 of 2, I can go to my next unread email. So this one is in regards to a training event. It's from Matt Ranke. Looks like it's to me, Mitchell, and Eric. So I can hit this little drop down arrow and see some more information about who this email was sent to and at what time, subject, and also I showed that it was important mainly because of the people in the conversation. That goes back to that important option that I was talking about earlier. So Matt says, hello, please mark your calendars for the upcoming Google training event on Friday, November 10th at 8 a.m. More details to come later. So I can either go to my calendar and add that information to my calendar, or I can just click that highlighted date. Anytime that there's a date sent to you in an email that is in the future, that will be something that you can click and automatically add to your calendar. What it does is it pulls the subject line from the email to basically what the event on your calendar could be titled. He said upcoming Google training event, but in the subject he just said training event. So what I can do is just add Google training so that whenever I'm looking at my calendar I know specifically what that event is. I also see that at 1:30 p.m. that same day, I have this generic placeholder on my calendar saying sample training. I'll go ahead and add this to my calendar now. So at this point, if I were to go to my calendar, all that I would see is a new training event added to my calendar, and it would just basically be the subject line. There wouldn't be any content within it, but at least I have it on my calendar. I can then hit Edit in Calendar. It'll open up a new tab and take me to the full-blown invite creation or event creation page where you can add a lot more content. So if I wanted to, I could add other guests. So he sent this to myself, Eric, and Mitch. So I think that Jay Sipe would be a good person to have at this event as well. So I'll add him to this invite. We know that it's at 8 a.m. We don't know where the event is at yet, so I'm just going to leave that blank. Matt will update us on that later, and then I can hit save. That'll send the invite to him, and if I go to next week, I have that placeholder on my calendar. I'm going, Jonathan hasn't responded yet, but once he does, I'll be updated and I'll know that he's coming as well. So we'll get more into the calendar in a few minutes. I just want to finish up some of this inbox side of things first. So let me go back to my email again. So now if I refresh, I don't have any unread emails. Everything else in my inbox is just part of this everything else section. There's different ways that you can structure your email. These aren't things that I necessarily want to delete because I could still come back to them later. But I can also get them out of my inbox if I wanted to do so. And to do that, all that you have to do is check these boxes. And then once you check those boxes, you have some options here. You can either archive it, which will send it to that all mail folder over here. So basically it removes it from everything else. It doesn't delete it. It just basically gets it out of my main inbox page. I can mark it as spam. I definitely wouldn't want to do that. This is all good emails. If you do, however, get a spam message, report it as spam, and then basically with Google, you're part of the global security infrastructure of 20 million users. So spam is something that will really pretty much be a thing of the past once you move to Google. It's extremely rare that you get emails from somebody that end up in your spam folder that shouldn't, and it's also rare that a spam message actually makes it into your inbox. It can still happen, and if it does, just mark that email spam. I could delete these if I wanted to and just get rid of them forever, or I could move them to folders or label them, do some other things. So for now, what I will do with these 6 or 7 emails that excuse me, that I highlighted, I'm going to just archive them so it takes it out of my inbox. These emails here, so this initial one here from Jonathan Sipe, looks like he said, "Let's go Blues." That was from back in May of 2016. I think that this is something that I want to create a label for. So I'll check this box, go here to label. It's already labeled with emails from John Sipe, and I want to add social to it as well, apply. So that way going forward, that email, if I click my social label over here, that email will be inside of there. So one of the things that you need to keep in mind as you're using Google is there's folders in Outlook and in Google, they're referred to as labels. They both do the exact same thing. And if currently in your Outlook system, you have hundreds of folders already, whenever you go through the migration process, once you get logged in, all of those folders will be there as well. So you'll still have all of that structure that you had previously. Again, they're just labeled a little bit differently. So one of the best things about Google, in my opinion, is the search function. So using the search function, you can really get a lot of information very quickly. So in the search bar, Google is basically built upon search, and that same technology is part of your Google inbox as well. So I can hit from and type in a name, and it'll give me every email that I've ever received from Matt. I can have the subject be a keyword that he may have used. So I'll say training, and then has the words. So say, okay, well, I know that he sent me something about training. Maybe he didn't have that in the subject line, so I'll just say that it had the words training in it, and I can decide if I want it to search for emails that had attachments, and I can search also within a specific date range. So I'll hit search, and here's that email that he sent me today. You've noticed that it searched everything from Matt that had the word training. So it did catch the training that was inside of the subject line, and it also caught the training within the body of the email. So some of the ways that that may apply to you in your world is if you need to search by a phone number, or you need to search by a specific zip code. It's basically, you can type in a zip. So here's 63885 or 63385. That's a zip code that I searched previously. I'll click that, and it found this address right here with 63385 in it from May 23rd, 2016. So the search function is really great. What we actually find a lot of people do is they start to disregard using their folders and labels because the search function works so well. One of the things is, you probably spend 10 to 15 minutes a day taking your emails and putting them into the correct labels and correct folders, and at the end of the year, that works out to about 80 hours if you're doing that for 15 minutes a day for 5 working days of the week. Versus, if you know that you want to search for an email from a specific person, I can just search Rob at feathershark.com, and it'll pull every email that I've ever received from Rob. And it gets me to the same spot that a folder would. So something to keep in mind. One of the things that some people tend to dislike about Google is the threaded conversations. So if you look at this email here, it shows that it was from me actually to myself. So it was from Doug at FeatherShark to Demo at FeatherShark. And it has this 2. That means that there was 2 messages back and forth. So looks like it said, hey, when you get a second, can you call me? Nice talking to you. Let's grab a coffee on Wednesday at noon. So the way that the threaded conversations work is anytime that you receive a message that's got a subject line and you reply to that message, and then that person replies to you, and then you reply to them, and you have that back and forth conversation, it will keep all of those messages that are nested under that original subject line in one thread. So some people have issues with that and they don't like the threaded conversation view, but once you realize that it's just grouping things together that are based on the subject line, it helps to especially if you have to go back and look at some information regarding something that you're working on and you've had a lot of back and forth with someone, keeping the whole conversation together makes it really useful and can improve your productivity, just in the sense that you don't have to select individual emails to track down and figure out what was said. If you want to turn it off, you can do it in the settings tab, which is actually what I'm moving to next. So if you go to this cogwheel at the top of the screen, that's your settings. You can hit settings again, and this will pull up just all the settings that you would have set up for your inbox. So that conversation/threaded view that I was just talking about, that's on by default. Typically, we challenge users to keep that on for, give it a week or two. And if you still just really hate it and you want to go back to having all of your emails coming through as individual messages, just turn it off and hit save, and that'll go away. Again, though, we do challenge you to keep it in place for a week, because usually what we find is once you get used to how it works and the fact that, again, it's just tied to the subject, it can make your life easier. So it's worth a shot. So you can scroll down. This is a lot of just generic information about the account. By default, the first letter of your email address will be the top of the screen. If you want to add an image, you can do that here in settings, or by clicking the F and hitting change, where you can add a picture. Your signature, right now it's just set to Doug Lumpkin. I can set that to something else, or I can add more to it. I could add a phone number if I wanted to. And then anytime that you send an email, that's in there. You can also add images and social media links, anything that you want into that signature, and it can be there. The other thing that's here that people tend to want to know about is the vacation responder. So the nice thing about the vacation responder is you can schedule it in advance. So Thanksgiving's coming up right now, so I'll jump out to November, and it's 23rd, last day, we'll say November 24th. Just change this to out of office. I'm not going to mess with changing this right now, but you can hit save changes, and then once that date comes, the system will automatically see that you have that set as a vacation responder time, and if you email me, you'll immediately get that response that I'm out of the office. Labels. So again, during the setup process, we'll move all your folders for you, but if you need to, you can create new labels here if you don't want to do it within your inbox, or whenever all of the migration takes place, you can come here and make sure that all your labels are set up correctly. Under inbox, this inbox type, by default, it's just a standard inbox where everything comes in together and you can pick and choose which email you want to respond to first. I personally like to have unread first, so that way, you know, I don't have to necessarily respond to my emails in order, but at the same time, it always keeps any unread message at the top of the screen, and it can help prevent you from having a situation where, you know, you missed an email 2 weeks ago and it's still just sitting in your inbox open, or excuse me, unread, and you have to track it down and find where it's at. So you can change that there. One of the other things that people tend to want to have on is this item that's over under labs, and it's called preview pane. If you enable this, what you'll be able to do is come to your inbox and I'll do a vertical split. Basically, you can have one email open on your screen and then scroll through to other messages and see what you have from within the email. And again, you can turn that off if you'd like as well. So I think that covers the inbox. I know that there's a lot of information here, but that should get you to a point where, you know, you can send, receive messages, you can access your attachments, you can blind copy people, you can carbon copy people, you can add images to emails, you can change some of your settings, your signature, your vacation responders. So that's a good start if you can get all of these things done. So the next thing I'm going to go to is the calendar. At the top of the screen here, you have this little section of tiles, and if you click that, you can see the different apps that are built into Google's G Suite. So I'll click calendar. You're already signed into your email account, so it'll automatically pull up your calendar signed in. And close these ones I have opened. And here is this week's view. So not a whole lot going on this calendar right now. If I go to the next week, which I can do by clicking here, or just by pressing the letter N on my keyboard, it'll bring me to the next week. You can also press P and it'll take you to the previous week. You can change the view of the calendar by using these tiles here, or if you just click the first letter of these words, it'll do the same thing for you. So we'll say, instead of clicking day, I'll hit D on my keyboard, D, I'll hit W for week, M for month. So it's a quick way to just bounce around on the calendar. So I'll go back to the week view, and today, right now I just have this training video that was scheduled for 9:30 this morning, and if I go to next week, I see that there's some events that are on the calendar. So I have my FeatherShark demo calendar, and I also have the shared billing calendar that's got a few items built into it, and then I also have this training event that we set up via email, the training event for the Google training. If you want to move any of these events, it's incredibly easy to do. All you have to do is click the event and drag it to where you want it to be. So if this initial event that was set for 12:30, if you want to move it to Wednesday morning, just click and drag it to that specific spot, and it'll update the event and update anybody else that event has been shared with. If you click the event, you can delete it or edit it. And once you hit edit, you can basically add more information to it. So I'll add Matt at FeatherShark to this account, or to this event. I'm going to say where. I'm going to say our favorite lunch spot, El Maguey in Chesterfield. Description, we'll call it sales discussion. So now whenever I send this invite to Matt, he'll get the title of the event, the time and where. It's like 8 a.m. at El Maguey. It's a good way to start the day. And it'll have a discussion of the event. What's really cool about this is he's got Google Maps installed on his cell phone. So whenever this event alerts him that it's coming up, the notification is set to tell him, 10 minutes prior to the event. You can change this if you'd like, especially if you know that somebody has to drive a long distance. He'll get the notification on his phone that this event is coming up, and it'll automatically have a link that he can click that will open Google Maps, and the GPS will immediately take him to that location. So I'll hit save, I'll hit send, and hopefully he sees that and he can accept it so that we can see what an accepted event looks like. And as we look at the calendar again, we have on the left side here, say I wanted to coordinate with somebody, I can just click the letter next to their name, and then whenever I do that, I'll see those events. So looks like this holidays is one that's a default one. So daylight savings time ends, Veterans Day is the 10th. I can bounce out. Looks like Thanksgiving is the 23rd. So it's nice to have all of those just by default within the system. Let me go ahead and go back to today, next week. And if I want to add more people to the list, I can add a coworker's calendar here. So if I wanted to add, say, Mitch at Feathershark, I can click this, and it'll give me his calendar immediately. So it's a nice way that you can get an idea of who's on the calendar and what their calendar events are, so that you can coordinate with them more easily. So it looks like I got a new email since I've been sitting here. Oh, look at that. Looks like Matt did accept the event. So now I show that he did accept it. In his email inbox, he got a message that said yes, no, or maybe. And so if he said no, I would receive that he cannot make the meeting, or if he says maybe, he can propose a different time. And that same message will go through and work for any email platform. It'll work for Outlook, Yahoo, if you have a Yahoo account, GoDaddy, Google, all of it's totally interchangeable. It'll work no matter what platform that other user is on. So if I go back to my calendar, I'll refresh my screen here, and now I see, if I click this, Matt is in fact going to be coming to it. So that's good. And if I were to move or change the time, so if I drug this to, say, Tuesday at 9, he would get an email saying the time has been changed. So some of the other things that are built in to Google G Suite that we won't touch on this video, but we'll have a follow-up video, is Google Drive, which includes your docs, sheets, slides, which is a really, really great file management and collaboration tool that you have access to as a G Suite user, and also some of these other functions. One thing that I didn't touch on that I do want to go back to on the email inbox is contacts. So if you're in your inbox, at the top left of your screen, you have mail. If you click that and then go to contacts, you can see all of your contacts. So I have my most contacts, which are the people that I've contacted the most. And then I also can create a new contact. So if I hit new, I can say, Bob Jones, job title, CEO, company, Acme. I can add his email address, his phone number, and add a note about him. So then anytime that I need to, I can go in and look at these contacts. And you also can delegate your contacts to other people. So if you had shared contacts, let us know and we can work with you to make sure that all of that is structured how you need it to be. So I think that covers this introduction to G Suite. If you have any questions, please let us know. But thanks again for taking the time to check it out, and I hope you enjoy the new system.